8 ways to overcome performance anxiety in the bedroom. Hey everybody, in this video I'm going to be talking about ways that you can overcome performance anxiety when it comes to sex. This is something that we are seeing increase every year. More and more people are experiencing performance anxiety. It happens actually for both men and women, although a little bit more for men. One of the biggest problems with men is the fact that performance anxiety can lead to loss of erection and or premature ejaculation, which can end sex either before it starts or really early, and that can cause some problems. So what we want to do in this video is talk about some ways that we can overcome the performance anxiety so that we can get our sex life back on track. But before we do that, please make sure that you like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Doing so greatly helps. It helps me get this content out there to people who really need it. I get amazing feedback on the content. The one thing is I just need to get it out to more people, so I'd really appreciate it if you do that. Hey everybody, I am Kevin Anthony and I'm a certified sexologist, Tantra Counselor, NLP Practitioner, and sex, love, and relationship coach. And for over 10 years, I have been helping men, women, and couples have the relationship of their dreams and the best sex of their lives. Okay, so we're talking about performance anxiety here. So what do I really mean by that? I mean, I think you all pretty much understand what that means, but just real quick, it is when your anxiety level over will you be able to perform in bed gets to a certain level that it's actually starting to negatively impact your ability to make love, to have sex, to satisfy your partner, to achieve an erection, to control your ejaculation, that sort of thing. So that's what we're really talking about here. And then how can we reduce that anxiety level so that we can show up in our best form and perform? Okay, the number one way to reduce your performance anxiety is to set realistic expectations. One of the reasons that I think we're seeing an increase in performance anxiety over previous generations is that previous generations basically had no expectations that sex was going to be long or multi-orgasmic or particularly even that good. It was usually generally, it's for the man, and the wife was often going along with it, just because that was her wifely duties, and it was over rather quickly, and nobody really set expectations. But as we have evolved, and as both men and women have really come to see the value in the co-creative process that sex is, we've suddenly started to put a lot of expectations on what sex should be. Now, you will hear me talk all the time on this channel about what sex could be. I did an entire podcast, This is What Sex Could Be, Are You Missing Out? And what I was trying to impart on you was really how truly amazing and mind-blowing sex could be if you're willing to think outside the box and change the way that you've always done sex. So I am a big believer in that. However, you have to be realistic. If you are in that place of the average man lasting between 2 and 7 minutes long, it is not realistic for you to set an expectation that you're going to have an hour of penetrative sex, right? So be realistic about where you're at and have some realistic expectations. I think another reason why people have such unrealistic expectations these days is because they watch porn. And what you're seeing in porn is not real life. Why is it not real life? Well, first of all, you've got the magic of editing, right? You've got the fact that they can cut this scene any which way they want and change angles and make it look like it's a nonstop, where it might have been 2 or 3 different erections with ejaculations in between, but it makes it look like he's lasting forever. You've also got the fact that, unfortunately, in porn, there are also drugs that are used in order to enhance performance. And of course, these people are also professionals in the sense that this is literally what they do for a living, is they have sex. So they're probably far more trained than you are. So comparing yourself to what you see in porn also sets you up for more anxiety, because you're like, I gotta live up to that, right? Like, she sees that in porn, or that's what I want to be, or whatever it is. So number one, set realistic expectations. If you're not trying to compare yourself to Superman, you'll be a lot less anxious about trying to become Superman. Okay, the second way to reduce performance anxiety is you've got to have some real conversations with your partner. You just got to talk about these things. I know it can be embarrassing, guys, to have a conversation with your woman about, look, I might get a little too excited. I might not be able to last that long, but you got to have these conversations. You don't necessarily have to say that, but have a conversation and just sit down and say, hey, if this is a new partner, this is especially important, because you can say, look, when I'm with a new partner, sometimes I tend to get a little too excited. I might not last as long as I know I'm capable of lasting, but if you're willing to just work with me a little bit, I'll get past that and we'll get to a place where we can really get in the groove. This is actually something that Celine's previous partner did. He had that conversation with her and he said, look, I may not be that good the first couple of times, but if you could agree to have sex with me at least 5 times, he's like, by then I will have settled down, I'll be comfortable, and trust me, it will get better. And she agreed to that, and that's exactly what happened. It was not that good in the beginning, but once he sort of relaxed and got calm and got more used to her body and her energy, he was able to perform. So you just got to have these conversations. The problem is most people go into sex, they've had no conversation about any of this stuff whatsoever. And then it's like, oh boy, now the pressure's on. Now I got to perform. Now I got to show her that I can do this, right? And then sometimes for women too, women get performance anxiety as well. And sometimes they're like, oh, what if I don't lubricate enough? Or, what if I'm not good enough in bed? He's not going to want to have sex with me again, right? So have those conversations. If you're a woman and you've had difficulty with lubricating enough in the past and you're worried about that, just say, hey, sometimes I don't lubricate as much, and what I really need is just, maybe a little bit more foreplay, maybe slow down a little bit, make sure you use a little extra lube. So just have those conversations. Trust me, I know it feels awkward. I know you're thinking that it's going to kill the spontaneity, but if you can talk about these things up front, you can significantly improve the quality of the sex that you're having. All right, the number 3 way is to calm your nervous system down. You need to be able to calm your nervous system, especially if you tend to be a little on the anxious side in real life. You got to find ways to calm your nervous system. I would, of course, suggest cutting down on the stimulants, the coffee or basically anything with caffeine or sugar, so that you can calm your system down in general. I would also suggest things like meditation so that you can really calm your entire system down. In fact, a great thing to do before you actually have sex is to sit down facing each other. You can be in chairs, you can be, on the floor, on the bed, legs crossed. Just do a simple breathing and eye gazing exercise where you're just taking some slow, deep breaths. There is a breath pattern that we teach in the Power Mastery courses called 4-sided breathing. You may have also heard it referred to as box breathing, where it's just equal inhale, hold, exhale, hold. So inhale, hold, exhale, hold, right? You go in that square like that. That is a great way with your partner before you actually have sex to calm your nervous system down a little bit before you start. The 4th way is you need to master your mind. You need to get control over your mind, because your mind will do all kinds of crazy things. It will have all these thoughts in it. That's why we call it the monkey mind, because you think of monkeys running around, throwing poop on the wall or whatever. This is what your mind tends to do sometimes. So if you want to be able to reduce your anxiety level, you've got to get control over your mind. Meditation is a good way to do that, and I mentioned that also as a way to calm down your nervous system. It's not the only way. You've got to find ways to get control over the thoughts in your mind. One of the things, of course, is not attaching to those thoughts and allowing them to pass through, but also controlling to some extent whether or not you allow those negative, anxious thoughts in, or instead you allow positive, reinforcing thoughts in. So you've got to master your mind. There's many ways to do that, and it's something that I work a lot with my clients on in the coaching programs, is how do you master your mind? That's where the NLP, neuro-linguistic programming stuff that I do comes in. All right, number 5 way is to start sex slowly. Especially for men, they just want to jump right in and they're off to the races. It's like the firing gun went off and it's like, boom, here we go, right? The problem with that is it will probably get you too excited too quickly and lead you into premature ejaculation, which then will, of course, you won't be happy about. So that'll create more anxiety, and then you just get into this anxiety loop. So you don't want to do that. Just start slowly. And trust me, she wants you to start slowly anyway, so it's something you should already be doing. But a great way to get over the anxiety is to start slow. Just start slow, ease into it, so that you're not expected to just jump in and go, from 0 to 100 right away. All right, the 6th way is to control or manage your excitement level. Now, this is similar to mastering your mind. It's also similar to calming your nervous system down, yet it is its own distinct thing. You need to control your excitement level. What do I mean by that? I watch so many men when I'm coaching them talk about their sex lives, and because I have to ask a lot of questions. Well, what does it look like? Okay, what happens? How do you start? Where do you go? I need to know all those details if I'm going to help you with that. And what I find is that a lot of men, before the sex even starts, they get so excited in their mind about the fact that they're finally going to get some sex that they're already way up here on the arousal scale. And then when the sex actually starts, it just, boom, throws them right over the top. So you need to learn to manage your excitement level. So don't allow yourself to get so sexually stimulated and excited right from the start, because then you'll spend the rest of the lovemaking process trying to calm yourself down or pull yourself back from being on the edge of ejaculation. And again, if you allow yourself to get too excited, if you allow yourself to ejaculate too early, then that's going to reinforce the performance anxiety, because next time you're gonna be like, what if I do that again? What if that happens again, right? So focus on managing your excitement level. For guys, there's really no problem almost ever in us getting excited. For us, we tend to get overly excited, right? So what we want to do is focus on managing, bringing that excitement level down. There is a time and a place for maximum excitement levels, and right from the start is not the time or place. Okay, the 7th way to control performance anxiety is to learn new skills. Learn new skills. One of the reasons why so many men have anxiety around their performance is because they've never taken the time to really learn how to be great. I mean, how would you feel if suddenly, you had to be on the starting lineup of a professional sports team, and you're like, I didn't spend the last 10 years of my life practicing this every day. I'm going to get slaughtered out there, right? Like you would never do that. And yet you go into sex like that all the time. Now, you might think that just because you've done sex, your whole life since you were of age to have sex, that qualifies you to have amazing sex and be great at it. It doesn't. You probably played Little League Baseball your whole life. Your whole childhood, but that doesn't qualify you to be a Major League Baseball player, right? It's the same thing. Just because you've been having sex since you were old enough to have sex doesn't mean you're qualified to be a sexual master. It takes time, it takes practice, it takes learning. You got to go out and seek teachings, because I guarantee you, if you're like almost anybody I've ever met, known, worked with, talked to, none of us were taught. None of us grew up with parents who were masters at this and said, okay, I'm going to teach you also how to master this part of what it means to be a human. We just don't do it in our society. There's too much shame. Even if your parents were sexual masters, I highly doubt they actually taught you how to do it. So that means you got to take the time to go seek it out and learn it yourself. That's really important, because the more you learn about it, the more skills you have, the more tools you have in your toolbox, the more confident you will be. The more confident you are showing up to that sexual situation, the less anxiety you will have. And that leads me to the number 8 way to reduce performance anxiety: practice. 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 The more you practice, the better you will become. The better you become, the less anxiety you will have, because you will know that you are capable of showing up and performing. You will know that you're capable of getting an erection. You will know that you are capable of lubricating properly. You will know that you are capable of controlling your ejaculation. You will know that you are capable of opening up and expanding to your man. If you have performance anxiety and you practice, you will definitely reduce that amount of anxiety. And then if you combine it with all the other things that I've talked about in this video, you will definitely, if not significantly reduce, you might even get rid of your performance anxiety altogether. Now look, mileage varies. We're not machines. Sometimes we show up as Superman and sometimes not so much, right? And that's normal, and that's perfectly okay. But if you're doing all the things that I suggest in this video, then you should not really have any anxiety at all. You should be confident going into any sexual situation that you know that you can at least perform to a satisfactory level, and you know what? You might even be Superman on that day. All right, I hope that was helpful. Please check out some of the other videos on this site. I've got over 800 videos on sex, love, and relationship. There are even a few more pertaining to anxiety and performance anxiety in the bedroom, so go check that out as well. Also, please make sure that you check out my website, kevinandceline.com. If you're interested in learning how to do some of these things, these are all things that I teach you in my coaching programs. So go check that out. I am currently coaching men, women, and couples. So no matter who you are or what your relationship status is, I can help you. You can also go to kevinandceline.com/vault and sign up for a free library of resources to help you improve your relationship and your sex life. All those links, of course, are in the description. And of course, check out my online courses, powerandmastery.com. There's a lot of this stuff in there where I'm teaching you through those courses also how to do this. And then, of course, check out my podcast, the Love Lab Podcast, which you can watch right here on this channel. And you can also listen to on any major podcast platform.